What my future mother-in-law told me the night before my wedding made me stop at the altar. And in doing so, she saved my life. This happened 2 years ago, but I need to tell you this story today. Because somewhere out there, someone needs to hear it. Someone needs to know that God will give you the courage to walk away, even when you're standing at the altar in front of everyone you know. My name is Gabrielle Patterson, and this is the story of how a woman chose truth over her own son, and how that choice set both of us free. Let me take you back to August 3 years ago, when my life was completely different. When I thought I knew exactly what my future looked like. When I believed I was about to marry the man God had chosen for me. I met Marcus Williams at New Hope Community Church during our annual summer revival. I'd been a member of New Hope since I was 16, when my family moved to our city from down south. New Hope wasn't just my church. It was where I'd been saved, where I'd been baptized, where I'd found my voice in the praise team and my purpose in the women's ministry. Marcus had just moved back home after finishing his MBA. He'd grown up at New Hope, left for college and grad school, and was returning to his roots. His mother, Mother Ruth Williams, was legendary at our church. She'd been a member for 40 years, led the missionary society, coordinated the food pantry, sang in the choir, prayed for the sick. Everyone loved Mother Ruth. She was the kind of woman who made you feel seen and valued just by looking at you. The first time I saw Marcus, he was sitting in the front row during revival service, right next to his mother. He was handsome, yes, tall, well-dressed, clearly educated. But what caught my attention was the way he looked at Mother Ruth during worship, with such love and respect. The way he'd put his arm around her during prayer. The way he'd lean over and whisper something that made her smile. A man who honors his mother, I thought. That's the kind of man worth knowing. We were introduced after service by Pastor Williams. Pastor knew I was single and had been praying for a godly husband. He knew Marcus was back in town and looking to reconnect with the church community. Sister Gabrielle, this is Marcus Williams, Mother Ruth's son. Marcus, this is Sister Gabrielle Patterson. She leads our praise team and coordinates our young adult ministry. Marcus smiled, extended his hand. It's a pleasure to meet you, Sister Gabrielle. My mother has told me so much about you. I was surprised. She has? Oh, yes. She says you have a beautiful voice and an even more beautiful heart. I felt myself blush. Mother Ruth had been talking about me. To her son? That was in early August, 3 years ago. By October, Marcus and I were officially dating. He'd asked me out properly, taken me to dinner at a nice restaurant, then for a walk through the park. He was a gentleman, opened doors, asked thoughtful questions, talked about his faith openly, shared his dreams, asked about mine. He'd gotten his MBA in finance and was working for a consulting firm downtown. He was ambitious, driven, but also grounded in his faith. He talked about wanting to use his business skills to help churches and nonprofits manage their resources better. Mother Ruth was thrilled about us dating. She'd pull me aside after service and squeeze my hands. My son is blessed to have you in his life, baby. I've been praying for him to find a woman of God, and here you are. I loved Mother Ruth from the start, truly loved her. She treated me like the daughter she'd never had, invited me to family dinners, called me just to check in, shared recipes and wisdom, prayed with me. She became not just my boyfriend's mother, but my mentor, my spiritual mother. Marcus and I grew closer through the winter months. We studied the Bible together, prayed together, served in ministry together. He met my parents at Thanksgiving, and they loved him, professional, respectful, clearly committed to me and to God. My father, who was usually skeptical of any man interested in his daughter, actually pulled me aside after that first meeting and said, "Gabrielle, that's a good man. Don't let him go." By spring, I was certain Marcus was the one, and apparently he felt the same way. He proposed in May, right after Mother's Day service, about 9 months after we'd started dating. The whole church knew it was coming. Pastor Williams had announced that Marcus had asked for his blessing. The praise team was in on it. Even the sound technicians were ready. After service, Marcus asked me to come to the front of the sanctuary. He said he had something to share with the congregation. I thought maybe he was giving a testimony or making an announcement about a mission trip. Instead, he got down on one knee. "Gabrielle Patterson," he said, his voice steady but emotional. "From the moment I met you, I knew you were special. Your faith, your kindness, your strength, your love for God and for people. You make me want to be a better man. You challenge me. You inspire me. You complete me." I was crying. The whole church was watching. Mother Ruth was in the front row, tears streaming down her face. "I want to spend the rest of my life loving you, serving God with you, building a family with you. Gabrielle, will you marry me?" Through my tears, I said yes. He slipped a beautiful ring on my finger, and the church erupted in praise. People were shouting, crying, celebrating. It was one of the happiest moments of my life. Mother Ruth was the first person to hug me after Marcus. She held me tight and whispered in my ear, "Welcome to the family, daughter. I'm so blessed to have you." We set the date for August, which gave us 3 months to plan. Mother Ruth insisted on helping with everything. She'd been married for 30 years before her husband passed away 5 years earlier, and she had so much wisdom about marriage, about building a life together, about navigating challenges. We spent hours together that summer, planning the wedding, shopping for my dress, choosing flowers, talking about recipes and decorating and all the little details that make a wedding special. But more than that, we talked about marriage itself, about what it means to be a wife, about how to love someone well, about faith and commitment and sacrifice. "Marriage is beautiful, baby," Mother Ruth told me one afternoon while we were addressing invitations. "But it's also hard. It requires you to die to yourself daily, to choose love even when you don't feel like it, to forgive, to communicate, to pray without ceasing." "Did you and Mr. Williams have a good marriage?" I asked. Her face softened with memory and a touch of sadness. "We did. 30 years. And it was good because we built it on truth. We committed from day one that we would always be honest with each other, no matter how hard the truth was. Because lies, baby, lies will destroy a marriage faster than anything else." I nodded, taking mental notes. Mother Ruth's wisdom was gold. "Promise me something, Gabrielle," she said, looking at me intently. "Promise me that you and Marcus will always choose truth, even when it's painful, even when it costs you something. Because the truth will always set you free, but lies will trap you." "I promise, Mother Ruth." She smiled and squeezed my hand. "That's my girl." The weeks flew by. Work, wedding planning, premarital counseling with Pastor Williams, bridal showers, all the beautiful chaos of preparing to become Mrs. Marcus Williams. Marcus was attentive and loving. He'd call me every morning on his way to work. We'd pray together. He'd text me throughout the day. We'd have dinner together several times a week. On Sundays, we'd sit together in church, his arm around me, worshiping as a couple. But looking back now, there were signs. Small things I dismissed or explained away, like the times his phone would ring and he'd step outside to take the call. "Work," he'd say when he came back. And I'd believe him because he did work long hours for his consulting firm. Like the weekend in July when he said he had to go to another city for a business conference, but when I called the hotel to leave him a message, they had no record of his reservation. When I asked him about it, he said there must have been a mix-up, that he'd actually stayed at a different hotel, like the way he'd sometimes smell like perfume. Subtle, but there. He'd explain it was probably from hugging clients or colleagues at work events. Like his sudden interest in going to the gym more often, 5 days a week, coming home later than the gym would justify. Each time, I'd feel that small unease in my spirit, that check, that whisper that something wasn't quite right. But then I'd push it down. Tell myself I was being paranoid. Remind myself that Marcus was a good man, a man of God, a man who'd proposed to me in front of the entire church. My mother had warned me once about ignoring spiritual discernment. "Baby," she'd said, "when God shows you something, pay attention. Don't let fear or hope make you blind to what he's trying to reveal." But I did. I let hope make me blind. The wedding was scheduled for Saturday, August 26th. By mid-August, everything was almost ready. The dress was fitted, the flowers were ordered, the caterer was confirmed, the church was reserved, the honeymoon was booked. We were going to spend a week at a resort on a tropical island. The rehearsal dinner was scheduled for Friday night, August 25th, at the church fellowship hall. Just the wedding party and close family, about 30 people total. That's when things started to unravel, though I didn't know it yet. The rehearsal itself went smoothly. We walked through the ceremony, practiced our vows, laughed at mistakes. Everyone was happy and excited. Mother Ruth was there, of course, coordinating everything with her usual grace and efficiency. But I noticed something. She seemed distracted, not her usual cheerful self. Several times, I caught her watching Marcus with an expression I couldn't quite read. Concern, worry, sadness. "Mother Ruth, are you okay?" I asked her during a break. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "I'm fine, baby. Just a lot of emotion. My only son getting married tomorrow." I hugged her. "I'm so grateful you're going to be my mother-in-law. I love you." She held me tight. Too tight, like she didn't want to let go. "I love you too, Gabrielle. So much." Never forget that. There was something in her tone that made me pause. But before I could ask, someone called me over to check on a detail with the photographer. The rehearsal dinner was lovely. Mother Ruth had prepared some of Marcus's favorite dishes: fried chicken, macaroni and cheese, collard greens, cornbread, sweet tea, all the comfort food of home. We ate and laughed and shared stories. My maid of honor gave a funny speech about how I'd been planning my wedding since I was 12. Marcus's best man teased him about finally settling down. But through it all, I kept noticing Mother Ruth. She was quiet, picking at her food, watching Marcus with that same troubled expression. Around 9 o'clock, as people were starting to leave, Mother Ruth pulled me aside. "Gabrielle, can you come by my house tonight, after everyone leaves? I need to talk to you about something." My heart skipped. "Is everything okay?" "Just come by, baby. Please, it's important." "Of course. What time?" "Around 10:30? I agreed, though I was confused. The bride and groom weren't supposed to see each other the night before the wedding. It was tradition. But she wasn't asking me to see Marcus. She was asking me to see her. I told Marcus I was going to my parents' house for the night, which was the plan anyway. He kissed me goodbye. "One more night, and then you'll be my wife." "I can't wait," I said. And I meant it. At that moment, I still believed I was about to marry the man of my dreams. I drove to my parents' house first, dropped off my overnight bag, told my mom I'd be back in an hour, that Mother Ruth wanted to talk to me about something. My mother's face grew serious. "This late? The night before your wedding?" She said it was important. "Do you want me to come with you?" "No, I'm sure it's fine. Probably just last-minute mother of the groom emotions." But as I drove to Mother Ruth's house, that unease grew. Something was wrong. I could feel it. Mother Ruth lived in a modest ranch house in a quiet neighborhood. The same house where Marcus had grown up. The same house where her late husband had died. It was filled with memories and faith, crosses on the walls, family photos everywhere, a well-worn Bible on the coffee table. She answered the door within seconds of my knock, like she'd been waiting right there. "Come in, baby." The house was quiet, just the two of us. "Would you like some tea?" she offered. "Mother Ruth, what's going on? You're scaring me." She gestured to the couch. "Sit down, Gabrielle, please." I sat. She sat across from me in her armchair. Her hands were shaking. "I need to tell you something, and it's going to break your heart. It's breaking mine, but I can't let you walk down that aisle tomorrow without knowing the truth." My stomach dropped. "What truth?" She took a deep breath, her eyes filled with tears. "Marcus is having an affair." The words hit me like a physical blow. I couldn't breathe, couldn't process. "What? No, that's not possible. Marcus would never—" "I know, baby, I know. I didn't want to believe it either, but it's true, and I have proof." She reached for a folder on the side table and handed it to me. My hands were shaking as I opened it. Inside were printed screenshots, text messages, photos, all from Marcus's phone. Text messages to someone named Simone, intimate messages. I miss you. Can't wait to see you tonight. You're all I think about. Photos of Marcus with a woman, at a restaurant, in what looked like a hotel room, kissing. I felt like I was going to be sick. Where did you get these? Mother Ruth's voice was thick with pain. Wednesday morning, I went to Marcus's apartment to drop off some things for the wedding. He'd already left for work, but he'd given me a key months ago. I needed to use the bathroom, and I saw his phone on the counter. It buzzed with a message, and when the screen lit up, I saw the preview. It was from someone named Simone, and it said, "I know this weekend is going to be hard, but we'll get through it together." She paused, wiping her eyes. I know I shouldn't have looked. I know it was wrong to invade his privacy. But something in my spirit said I needed to see what was going on. So I unlocked his phone, and I found all of this. I stared at the evidence in my hands. Weeks of messages, multiple meetups. The business trip that wasn't really a business trip. He'd been with her. How long? I whispered. From what I can tell from the messages, about 4 months, since late April. Late April, just weeks before he proposed in May. While he was planning to ask me to marry him, he was sleeping with someone else. Let me pause here for just a moment, because I know this is a lot. My name is Gabrielle, and tomorrow I'm supposed to marry Marcus Williams at New Hope Community Church. His mother, Mother Ruth, has been like a mother to me for the past year. But tonight, the night before my wedding, she's just told me that Marcus is having an affair. She discovered it 2 days ago on Wednesday when she found his phone. She's shown me proof, text messages, photos, evidence that he's been unfaithful for 4 months, including the time right before he proposed to me. And now I'm sitting in her living room trying to process the fact that everything I believed about my future has just been destroyed. Let me tell you what happened next. Why are you telling me this now? I asked. Though I wasn't accusing, I was genuinely asking. Why not earlier in the week? Mother Ruth's face crumpled. Because I've been wrestling with God about it since Wednesday. Gabrielle, you have to understand. That's my son, my only child. I carried him, raised him, prayed over him for 33 years. Everything in me wanted to protect him, to confront him privately and let him fix it, to keep this secret and hope it would just go away. She leaned forward, her voice breaking. I spent 2 days arguing with God, trying to convince him that I should just talk to Marcus, make him end the affair, and let the wedding proceed. Maybe he'd made a mistake. Maybe it was cold feet. Maybe it would never happen again. What changed? I asked quietly. Yesterday afternoon, I was at home praying, begging God to tell me what to do, and I heard him speak to me clear as day. He said, "Would you want someone to stay silent if it were your daughter? Would you want her to marry a lie?" She wiped her face. And I thought about the daughter I never had, the daughter I always prayed for. And then I thought about you, Gabrielle. How you've become that daughter to me. How I love you like my own blood. And I realized that if I let you marry Marcus without telling you this, I'd be choosing him over you. I'd be protecting his lie instead of protecting your future. She stood up and came to sit beside me on the couch, took my hands in hers. I know this is destroying you right now. I know you probably hate me for telling you this the night before your wedding. But baby, I couldn't let you make vows before God to a man who's already broken those vows before you've even taken them. That wouldn't be love. That would be cowardice. I was crying now. Full body sobs. Not just for the betrayal, but for what Mother Ruth had done. The courage it had taken. The sacrifice. You're choosing me over your own son, I said through my tears. I'm choosing truth over deception, she corrected gently. And yes, that means I'm protecting you instead of protecting him. Because love doesn't participate in lies, Gabriel. Real love exposes darkness so we can walk in light. We sat there together for a long time. Both of us crying, both of us heartbroken. Her for her son, me for my future. Finally, I asked the question I was afraid to know the answer to. Does he know you found out? No. I haven't confronted him. I wanted you to know first. I wanted you to decide how to handle this. What would you do? If you were me? She was quiet for a moment. Then she said, I would pray, and I would listen to what God tells you to do. Not what people expect, not what's convenient, not what causes the least embarrassment, what God says. Everyone's expecting a wedding tomorrow. 300 people. The church is decorated. The flowers are ordered. The caterer is coming. My dress is hanging in my parents' guest room. The photographer, the musicians, everything is ready. I know, baby. What am I supposed to do? Call it off? Tell 300 people that the wedding is canceled because the groom is a cheater? Humiliate myself and Marcus and both our families in front of the entire church? Mother Ruth squeezed my hands. I don't know, Gabrielle. That's between you and God. But I will tell you this. Short-term embarrassment is nothing compared to long-term misery. If you marry him tomorrow knowing this, you'll spend every day wondering if he's still cheating. You'll never trust him. You'll never have peace. That's not a marriage. That's a prison. She was right. I knew she was right. But the thought of calling off the wedding was overwhelming, impossible. Have you thought about confronting him first? Mother Ruth asked. Giving him a chance to explain? What explanation would justify this? I gestured to the folder of evidence. He's been lying to me for months, having a whole relationship with another woman while planning to marry me. What could he possibly say that would make this okay? Nothing, she admitted. But maybe you need to hear him try. Maybe you need to look him in the eye and let him know that you know. I thought about it. Then I made a decision. I'm going to get through tonight. I'm going to pray. And tomorrow morning, I'm going to decide what to do. But either way, Mother Ruth, thank you. Thank you for loving me enough to tell me. Thank you for choosing truth, even though it cost you your son. She pulled me into her arms. You're my daughter too, Gabrielle. I couldn't let you walk into a lie. I just couldn't. I left her house around midnight, drove back to my parents' place in a daze. My mom was still awake, waiting up for me. She took one look at my face and knew something was terribly wrong. Gabrielle, baby, what happened? I told her everything, showed her the evidence, watched her face go from shock to anger to heartbreak. That boy, she said, her voice tight. After all this, after all the premarital counseling, all the prayers, all the promises, he's been living a lie this whole time. My dad came downstairs, woken by our voices. When he heard what happened, I'd never seen him so angry. Tomorrow morning, I'm going over there and, no, Daddy, please, let me figure out what I'm going to do first. We stayed up most of the night, praying, crying, talking through options. My parents made it clear they'd support whatever I decided. Cancel the wedding, postpone it, confront Marcus privately, confront him publicly, whatever I needed. But ultimately they said it was my decision, my future, my life. I prayed like I'd never prayed before. God, what do I do? Everyone's expecting a wedding. I've bought a dress. We've spent money. People have traveled. But how can I marry him knowing this? How can I stand at that altar and make vows when he's already broken them? I didn't hear an audible voice, but I felt a strong, clear knowing in my spirit. The truth will set you free. Do not participate in lies. Stand for what's right, even if you stand alone. By morning, I knew what I had to do. It terrified me. But I knew. I called my maid of honor at 7 a.m. I need you to come to my parents' house, now. Bring the other bridesmaids. I need to tell you all something. They arrived within the hour. 5 of my closest friends, my sisters in Christ. When I told them what had happened, they were outraged on my behalf. You can't marry him, my maid of honor said firmly. Gabrielle, you absolutely cannot. I know, but I don't want to just call the wedding off and leave everyone wondering why. People need to know the truth. What are you going to do? I'm going to get dressed, go to the church, walk down that aisle, and when Pastor Williams asks if anyone has any objections, I'm going to object. I'm going to tell everyone why this wedding cannot happen. They stared at me. You're going to stop your own wedding? Yes, because people need to know, not for gossip, but because lies thrive in darkness, and I refuse to protect a lie. My mother overheard. Gabriel, are you sure? That's going to be very public, very painful. I'm sure, Mama. God told me to stand for truth, so that's what I'm going to do. At 11 a.m., my bridesmaids helped me get ready. Hair, makeup, dress, all of it. I looked like a beautiful bride. But inside, I was preparing for battle. We arrived at the church at 1:30. The wedding was scheduled for 2. The sanctuary was decorated beautifully. White roses everywhere, burgundy and gold ribbons, candles. It looked like a dream. Pastor Williams saw me in the bridal room and smiled. Sister Gabrielle, you look beautiful. Are you ready? Yes, Pastor. I'm ready. My father came to the bridal room just before 2 o'clock. I'd told him that morning what I planned to do. Gabrielle, he whispered, you don't have to do this. We can walk right out that door right now. I'll tell everyone there's a family emergency. We can cancel quietly. No, Daddy, I need to do this publicly. People need to understand why. They need to know the truth. He nodded, his face set with determination. Then I'll walk you down that aisle, and I'll stand with you when you speak. You're not doing this alone. At 2 o'clock, the music started, the processional. My bridesmaids walked down the aisle. Then my father came to get me. The doors opened. The congregation stood. Everyone turned to look at me. 300 people, smiling, crying, celebrating. I saw Marcus at the altar. He looked handsome in his tuxedo. Nervous, but happy. He had no idea what was coming. I saw Mother Ruth in the front row. Her face was grave, supportive, strong. My father and I walked down the aisle, slowly. Each step felt like a mile. The whole church was watching, waiting, expecting a wedding. We reached the altar. My father squeezed my hand, then instead of giving me away and sitting down, he stayed beside me, standing with me, supporting me. Pastor Williams looked surprised, but continued. He smiled at Marcus and me. Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to join this man and this woman in holy matrimony. Marriage is a sacred covenant before God, built on love, trust, faithfulness, and truth. The word truth hit me like a bell. This was it. Pastor Williams continued with the traditional words. Then he got to the moment. The question. If anyone here has any objection to this union, speak now or forever hold your peace. The sanctuary was silent, waiting for the ceremony to continue. No one ever objects at weddings. It's just a formality. I took a deep breath, and I spoke. I object. Gasps rippled through the congregation. Pastor Williams's eyes widened. Marcus stared at me in confusion. Gabriel? What? I object to this marriage, I said louder, turning to face the congregation. My voice was shaking but clear. And I need everyone here to know why. The sanctuary erupted in shocked murmurs, people leaning forward, whispering, confused. Pastor Williams held up his hand for quiet. Sister Gabrielle, what are you saying? I turned to Marcus, looked him in the eyes. Tell them, Marcus. Tell them about Simone. His face went white. Gabriel, I don't know what you're talking about. Don't lie. Not here. Not in God's house. Not in front of all these witnesses. Tell them about the affair you've been having since April. Tell them about the hotel rooms, the text messages, the lies. The sanctuary exploded, people shouting. Marcus's face was a mixture of panic and denial. That's not, I can explain. You've been sleeping with another woman for 4 months, I said, my voice breaking but strong, while planning to marry me, while making promises to me, while everyone here believed you were a man of integrity. I turned to the congregation. Many were crying, some looked angry, some looked shocked. I'm not canceling this wedding to hurt anyone, I said. I'm not doing this for revenge. I'm doing this because I cannot stand before God and make vows to a man who's already broken them. I cannot build a marriage on a foundation of lies, and I won't participate in deception just to avoid embarrassment. I looked at Mother Ruth. She was crying but nodding, supporting me. Last night, Marcus's mother came to me, I continued, and she told me the truth. She showed me the proof. She chose to protect me instead of protecting her son's lies. And that's what love does. Real love exposes darkness. Real love chooses truth, even when it costs everything. I turned back to Marcus. I loved you. I believed in you. I was ready to spend my life with you. But I won't marry a lie. I won't be the woman who knew the truth and married you anyway. I deserve better than that. And honestly, so do you. You need to get yourself right with God before you make promises to anyone. I took off the engagement ring and held it out to him. I'm sorry, but this wedding is over. Marcus was crying now. Gabriel, please, I made a mistake. I love you. Please don't do this. You should have thought about that in April, or May, or June, or any of the dozens of times you chose to be with her instead of being faithful to me. I turned to Pastor Williams. I'm sorry for the disruption. I'm sorry everyone came here expecting a wedding, but I couldn't go through with it, not knowing what I know. Pastor Williams looked at Marcus with disappointment and sadness. Brother Marcus, is what Sister Gabrielle is saying true? Marcus's silence was answer enough. Pastor Williams shook his head. Then this ceremony is concluded. There will be no wedding today. I walked back down the aisle, alone, in my wedding dress, my father beside me. The sanctuary was in chaos, people talking, crying, some following me, others staying to stare at Marcus. My parents met me in the lobby, wrapped me in their arms. We're so proud of you, baby, so proud. Mother Ruth found me moments later. We looked at each other, and then we both broke down, holding each other. Both of us heartbroken, both of us relieved. Thank you, I whispered. Thank you for loving me enough to tell me. Thank you for being brave enough to stand for truth, she said. I know this is the hardest thing you've ever done. But you did the right thing. The aftermath was messy. Explanations to guests, returning gifts, canceling the honeymoon, processing the betrayal, dealing with the gossip and speculation. Some people criticized me, said I should have handled it privately, that I embarrassed Marcus unnecessarily, that I was being dramatic. But most people supported me, especially the women. They came to me in the days and weeks that followed and thanked me. Thanked me for showing them that it's okay to choose self-respect over social expectations, that it's okay to walk away even when everyone's watching. Marcus tried to reach out several times, wanted to explain, to apologize, to ask for another chance, but I didn't respond. There was nothing left to say. I heard through the grapevine that he and Simone didn't last long after the wedding disaster. Apparently, she didn't like the fact that everyone knew about them, didn't like being labeled as the other woman. As for Mother Ruth, our relationship not only survived, it deepened. She became even more of a spiritual mother to me. She told me later that Marcus had been angry with her at first, felt betrayed. But eventually, he admitted she'd done the right thing, that he wasn't ready for marriage, that he had a lot of work to do on himself. About 6 months after the wedding that wasn't, I ran into Marcus at church. He'd been meeting with Pastor Williams for counseling, working on his issues, trying to grow. He approached me carefully. Gabrielle, I know you probably don't want to talk to me, but I need to say something. I nodded, willing to listen. I'm sorry. Truly sorry. Not just for the affair, but for the lies, for disrespecting you, for taking advantage of your trust. You deserved better, and you were right to stop the wedding. It took courage, and I respect you for it. Thank you, Marcus. I hope you're getting the help you need. I am, and I hope you find someone who treats you the way you deserve to be treated. Me too. We parted on civil terms. I'd forgiven him, though I'd never forget, and I'd never go back. That was 2 years ago. Today, I'm still single, still serving at New Hope Community Church. Still healing, still learning, still growing, but I'm at peace. Because I chose truth over comfort. I chose self-respect over social approval. I chose God's voice over everyone else's expectations. And Mother Ruth is still in my life, still my spiritual mother, still the woman who loved me enough to risk everything to tell me the truth. She told me something recently that stuck with me. Gabrielle, you think you lost something that day at the altar, But actually, you gained something. You gained your integrity, your self-respect, your freedom. You didn't walk away from love. You walked away from a lie. And that's not a loss. That's a victory. She was right. It was a victory. The hardest victory I'd ever won. But a victory nonetheless. I think about that a lot now. How we're taught to avoid conflict, to keep the peace, to not make waves, especially as Christian women. We're told to be gentle, submissive, accommodating, and those can be beautiful qualities when they're rooted in strength, not fear. But gentleness doesn't mean tolerating lies. Submission to God doesn't mean submission to deception. And keeping the peace shouldn't mean keeping secrets that poison your soul. Sometimes the most godly thing you can do is stand up and say, "This is not okay. I will not participate in this lie. I choose truth, even if it costs me everything." God sees you when you make that choice. He honors you when you choose His truth over human approval. He catches you when you feel like you're falling. And He uses your courage to set other people free. Because when you stand for truth, you give someone else permission to do the same. If you're watching this and you're facing a similar situation, I want you to hear me clearly. You do not have to marry someone just because the wedding is planned. You do not have to stay in a relationship just because you've invested time. You do not have to participate in a lie just because the truth is inconvenient. God's timing is perfect. If He's revealing something to you now, it's because He's protecting you, not punishing you, protecting you. Listen to that still, small voice. Pay attention to what He's showing you, and have the courage to act on it, even if everyone else thinks you're crazy. Truth will always set you free. But first, it might cost you everything. And it's still worth it. Because at the end of the day, you have to live with yourself. You have to face God. You have to sleep at night knowing whether you chose integrity or convenience. I chose integrity. And 2 years later, I have no regrets. None. The right person is out there. Someone who will value me, honor me, be faithful to me. And I would rather wait for that person than settle for someone who treats commitment like a suggestion. Mother Ruth gave me a gift that night before my wedding. She gave me the truth, and that truth saved my life. If someone loves you enough to tell you a hard truth, even when it costs them something, treasure that person. Because that's real love. Love that risks rejection to protect you. Love that chooses your well-being over their comfort. Love that stands with you even when standing means losing something precious. That's the kind of love God has for us. And that's the kind of love we should have for each other. Hit that like button if this story spoke to your heart. If you've ever had to make a hard choice to stand for truth. If you've ever been the person who had to tell someone something they didn't want to hear because you loved them too much to stay silent. Drop a comment and share your experience. Have you ever called off a wedding or left a relationship after discovering betrayal? How did God bring you through it? What did you learn? Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. And subscribe to Sister Circle Stories for more honest conversations about faith, truth, and what it really means to be a woman of God in challenging situations. We're not here to pretend life is perfect. We're here to tell the truth about the hard choices and the courage it takes to follow God, even when it costs everything. God bless you. Stay strong, stay faithful. And remember, the truth will always set you free, even when freedom is the last thing it feels like. You are not alone. You are seen. You are loved, and you are brave enough to do the right thing, even when it's the hardest thing. Amen.